Oh man, this next story hurts, dog. This next story hurts. So, as all of the longtime viewers know, I'm a wee bit of a fan of a game we call golf. Now, my dad started me playing it when I was younger, and at first I was so on it, but the more we played, the more I love it. And now my dad has long since passed away, but I still try to play golf at least once a week. You know, in the winter it's a little difficult, but at least once a week. I'm a big fan of golf. That may be my most elitist inclination, but nonetheless, I present it all to you and bear it to the world. So, not only do I like playing golf, I also like watching golf. I was, Tiger Woods dominant my entire life. You look at him and it's totally inspirational that this dude had such a freakishly high win percentage. Obviously, he's like the Michael Jordan of golf. He's right in that elite tier with like almost like superhuman, sports stars. And one of these guys who everybody loved, including myself, I love this guy, John Daly. John Daly came along. For those of you who don't know his story, it's amazing. First of all, he comes from a place in Arkansas and didn't have a pot to piss in growing up. And then he somehow, somewhere along the way as a kid, got obsessed with golf and would just hit practice shots at a baseball field. And he just through sheer natural talent, made it to the big stage. He got into a major championship as the 9th alternate. So 8 people had to drop out before his ass got in, and they ended up winning the tournament. And everybody loves him because he's, beer drinking redneck dude, and he's got the longest swing in the world. He takes it back way past parallel, and he rips it. He was the longest for like a decade. It was John Daly and Tiger Woods as the longest drivers on tour. Now we have new technology, and of course they're getting older, so they're not the longest. But like everybody loves him. It seems like down to earth dude. Well, anyway. In recent years, he sort of dipped his toe in the water of politics a little bit here and there, and every time it's like, oh, John, I love you, man. What are you doing, dog? And now, this is, I guess, more of his full coming out of the political closet type moment here. So he goes on Tucker Carlson's show. Go watch the whole interview, and I'm going to play some of the cringe for you, some of the cringe commentary. But I have like a weird takeaway from this that I'll get to in a minute, but here's John Daly talking about politics.
We all know who did a great job.
You think Trump's going to win?
He needs to win. I pray to God he wins.
Why?
Just for the satisfaction of bringing our country back together, get some common sense going in here again. And, look what he did. The 4 years, how great was our country in the 4 years he was in office. And now look at it. No secure borders, inflation's out of the roof. I mean, what the hell happened? Where did it go? I mean, I was loving the 4 years that Daddy Trump was in. And it's all gone to hell.
He called him Daddy Trump. I just want you to understand that's not a one-time thing. I've now seen him do it in multiple interviews where he calls him Daddy Trump. That's what he calls him. He calls him Daddy Trump. Now, he talks about how great the 4 years were. I would love to ask John Daly, name me the policies that you think were so great. And I'm not trying to say this as some sort of gotcha. I'm not trying to say this as some sort of, haha, you're an idiot, man. Like I told you, I love this guy. This guy's a staple of my childhood. He's somebody everybody looked up to who was into golf when you're young, right? I love this guy. I just want to ask him, what are those policies? What are the things that were so great? I would love for you to elaborate on that, so at least I can get a better understanding of where you're coming from. Now, you'll see he'll elaborate a little bit, but needless to say, it's stuff that when you look into it, is just not true, right? Let's keep going.
In 2 years, 3 years, it's just, what happened?
Did you see it? Did you see it coming?
We all did. When Biden got elected, I definitely saw that. A lot of our corporate people that were around all the time, launch our tournaments, they all saw it happen. They knew it was going to happen.
Have they ever leaned on you to shut up?
No. Why would they? It's free speech.
Well, because if you're in the NBA, you can't have your opinions.
Well, that's their problem. That's stupid. They should. When they were kneeling, national anthems and all that, that was kind of telling us to, telling America to kiss our ass.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that all about?
Okay. That's amazing. He just totally flipped his position in a short time span there. He was talking about like, nobody's trying to get me to shut up because free speech, bro. Free speech. And basically how free speech is good. Then they transition to, well, remember when the people in the NFL were taking a knee? Oh, yeah, fuck that. That's bad. They hate the country. You were just saying the virtues of free speech. Then there's a classic example of free expression. And you're like, hate that. So free speech is okay when you do it, but it's bad when people who don't agree with you do it. That's basically the argument. And by the way, multiple times in this, John Daly goes on to say that on the senior PGA Tour where he plays, it's called the Champions Tour, that like they basically all agree and they all love Trump. And now he's going on to bash the athletes who are in sports where the majority do not love Trump. And by the way, just to answer the question, when Kaepernick was taking the knee, he was very clear about why he was doing it. There was a lot of police brutality. There was a lot of killing of black men who were not armed. And he was like, this is bad. Let's stop this. So I'm going to protest against it. It's not about hating the country. It's about, can we do some sort of reform to the police so that not nearly as many innocent people get killed? Like that was the... Now, look, you don't have to agree with his protest, but at least acknowledge why he was doing it. Don't pretend like, well, they just hate America. That's so... It's like you have to know that's not true, but for you to say it means you just don't care about getting to the actual truth as to why these people are doing it. Again, you don't have to agree with Kaepernick. You could disagree, but at least acknowledge why he's actually doing it, and they're not doing it. They're not doing it.
You tell me.
I'd like to know, because I don't understand. Our football players were kneeling, national anthem, and, I'll never forget one game in the NFL, there was the Steeler guy that served, was the only one that came out of the locker.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. I think it was obvious that certain people wanted Americans to hate their own country, and so they used sports figures to send that message. Your country's embarrassing, it's immoral, give it the finger, hate it.
That's how much power athletes have.
I can't. These are the same people who talk all the time about how free speech is awesome, free speech is important, you shouldn't strawman your opponents, you should steelman your opponents. And here's an example of a 100% strawman of people who disagree with them, of liberals and leftists. Well, I just hate America. It can't be that they want to improve the country, and so they protest in order to bring that about. Now, again, you don't even have to agree that the way they want to improve it is the right way, but at least acknowledge that it's not just hatred. I hate this country, and that's why I'm doing this. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Be able to go that, I don't know if it's that left or just that stupid. I don't know.
Well, they're being used.
Yeah, but then they're the ones who are looking like idiots doing it.
But you never felt that in golf at all?
No, not with our guys. We believe in the American flag. We believe in our freedoms, and we believe in what, we travel probably more than any athlete on the universe. And we have to show our passport. We have to get visas. And look at our border. We're just coming in truckloads. And the Biden administration's done nothing. But says, the border's, it's under control.
Just 7 million people whose identities we don't know living here.
And what they say, in his term, there's over, I don't know how many that they found that were felons or they were terrorists or whatever, more than any other president.
Why do you think they're doing that?
Wait. He brought that up like it's a bad thing. This is Marsha Blackburn, the congresswoman or senator, did this too, where she's like, the Biden administration caught X number of pounds of fentanyl coming in the country and they seized it. They stopped X number of criminals and gangsters from coming in the country. And it's like, but if Trump did that, you'd be like, our based America First president is protecting us. Thank you, great Trump. But when Biden does it, it's like, this is disgusting. Wait, stopping the stuff, stopping the fentanyl, stopping the criminals, that's good, right? You do realize that when it says that these things are seized, that means that they're prevented from coming in. But no, what they mean is, the fact that they were even trying to come in the first place is an indication of how terrible Biden is. I can't.
All he wants is votes. They just want to stay in office.
Do you think they're going to make the illegals into voters?
I heard they're giving them voter cards and anything anyway. They come in. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I would think that's the only... Why? What else would they let them in?
John, illegal immigrants can't vote. They can't vote. They can't vote. They can't even get the overwhelming majority of the different kinds of social safety net support. They're not eligible for it. John.
What is the reason Democrats want all these people to come in free? And I got a guy that plays our senior tour, I won't mention his name, been here forever, won majors on the tour, and couldn't get a visa.
Really?
Yeah. But yet you're letting all these illegals come in, giving them whatever they want. Makes no sense to me.
But there's got to be a reason.
Giving them whatever they want. Look, this is the classic conservative notion that, like, these people at the bottom of the economic ladder with no money, with no power, with no voice in society, somehow they're getting one over on you. Somehow they're the problem. These guys worry about, like, big government, it's all going to help these immigrants. No, you know where big government is going? the Pentagon. The Pentagon failed 6 audits in a row. They can't account for 61% of their money. Trillions of dollars gone. Poof. Where'd it go? Probably into the pocket of Raytheon and Boeing and KBR and Honeywell and all these defense contractors. Why is that not your focus, John? Look, I don't want to go too hard because I think the fact of the matter is, I think he's just, he's just brainwashed by the Fox News types, right? And look, perhaps it's even understated how big of a problem this is, that, you get this whole older generation that starts out centristy or maybe even the center left or center right or whatever, and they watch Fox News and they just get bombarded with complete and utter garbage misinformation. And they just start believing that the biggest problem in the country is poor people coming in through the southern border who don't get any help. There was a video that went viral the other day of a guy who was coming in through the southern border. And he literally, when he was asked what he's doing, he just literally expressed the American dream. He's like, I want to come here to work hard. I want to come here to do well. I'm coming here to pay my taxes, and I want to give my family a better life. And it's that honestly represents the majority of the people coming in. But they're treated like pariahs. They're treated like they're all MS-13, right? Which is what Trump would have you believe. And John Daly falls for it, man. He falls for it. I like when he said, I don't even know if it's true. Then why are you saying it? Because it's not true. They're all the Democrats trying to bring them all in so they can vote. Okay, have you accounted for the fact that they can't vote? They're not allowed to vote? Nor are they allowed to get all different types of economic support from the government?
And that happened instantly the second Biden got there.
Yeah.
And no one says anything about it.
I feel bad for Arizonians, the good Californians, the Texans. That whole border, man. I feel bad for the farmers and everybody. And you see it every day. The stories that these cutting their fences, raiding their homes. Why would the President of the United States let these people do that to our own Americans?
Maybe if you hated the country and wanted to destroy it, you would do that.
Well, I can't. Okay. I'll try to be calm. Joe Biden kept in place Title 42, which was no due process. We're going to kick you out. We have a pandemic going on, so you're not even going to get to have a day in court if you're somebody who just came into this country. He kept in place Remain in Mexico, which was the Trump-era law, which is self-explanatory. If immigrants are coming up through South America, trying to get into the U.S. through Mexico, they need to remain in Mexico. Biden kept that in place. In fact, study from the Cato Institute, a right-wing institute. New data show migrants were more likely to be released by Trump than Biden. According to new data published last month, the Biden Department of Homeland Security has removed a higher percentage of arrested border crossers in its first 2 years than the Trump DHS did over its last 2 years. Moreover, migrants were more likely to be released after a border arrest under President Trump than under President Biden. In absolute terms, the Biden DHS is removing 3.5 times as many people per month as the Trump DHS did. These figures are important for understanding how each administration has carried out border enforcement. So in other words, everything they're saying here about the border is just factually wrong. And if anything, the criticism of Biden is you are too much like Trump. You are, in some limited ways, you're to the right of Trump on the border. And they just go with that Fox News line, which has no evidence for it whatsoever, that actually this guy's super weak. There's video going back to the 1990s of Biden calling for we need some sort of border fence in order to stop illegal immigrants from coming in the country. This is a guy who has always been relatively conservative on the issue of the border. Even go back to Obama, the Obama-Biden administration. Obama had a nickname in the Hispanic community, the deporter-in-chief. Why? Because he deported more than any other president to that point. I don't know how to get through these people. And that's kind of what's driving me crazy. Because I can tell from listening to John Daly speak, he's not a bad guy. He's not. Now, some of you might disagree with that, but you could tell by his disposition. You could tell he's just directly answering the questions with the answers that he thinks are correct. There's no malicious agenda here. He's just a regular dude giving his thoughts. And so on that front, total pass. What are you going to do? The best you could do is try to present some evidence and change people like this in their mind, right? But I don't know how to get through to these kinds of people, because you get the sense that when I bring up the data, when I bring up the facts, when I bring up that Biden's actually very conservative on the border, they just they'll just swat it aside, because I think they care more about protecting the narrative than they do about the reality, right? I think they care more about that. And that's like, if that's what you're going to do, my advice to you is just don't be involved in politics. Because you have to start with honesty. You have to start with actual information first. And then, craft your ideas and your thoughts and your policies, et cetera. You can't just like make something up and then stand by it after it's debunked. You can't do that. But that's what he's doing. And look, he's got a personal relationship with Trump, and you could tell that's impacted him, right? You could tell he's known Trump since like the late 1990s. Trump has always loved golf, so he always loved hanging out with like the pro golfers. And you could tell that Daly like has a good personal relationship with Trump, and so he loves the guy. But like the amount of stuff he's overlooking because, Trump is a personal friend, it's kind of astonishing, right? Like he believes in the mythology of Trump, like the great businessman, the greatest businessman of all time, the greatest president of all time. He just cares about the country. And it's like, well, how many things do we have to present to you to show that that's not true, right? Mr. I'm going to come save the jobs. There were 200,000 factory jobs outsourced under his administration. He cut taxes for the rich. He cut taxes for the corporations. He protected he destroyed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is the best government agency we had that returns money to people in the country who were basically screwed by big financial institutions. He threw out the court cases against the predatory payday loan industry. He dropped the regulations that were supposed to go into place against them. He increased drone strikes over 400%, killed massive numbers of innocent civilians. He tried to coup Venezuela. Like, I don't... All right, let's listen to a little more.
You think there's a chance Trump could win with a system like the one we have?
I don't know. I'm looking at Iowa. I'm looking at some of these states that are changing, that are kind of wanting to vote for him. But all I know is I hope he wins.
Yeah.
I'll have his back till I die. He's one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. The family's awesome. Once you get to know him, they're just good-hearted people, and he only wants to help Americans. He doesn't want anything out of it. And he wants to protect our country, which I think Putin never would have invaded Ukraine.
Of course not.
If he'd have been. And I don't think Hamas would attack Israel like they did if Trump was in office.
Oh, I can't. I don't. The Israel-Palestine issue has existed. Literally, you can go back as early as like 1900, right? With Theodore Herzl, the ideological father of Zionism, right? But certainly from the Nakba, certainly from the partition plan. We're talking about like 1947, 1948 here. Like, the issue has existed since then. The idea that, no, you know what the reality is? You may not have had the October 7th Hamas attack if Trump didn't greenlight the moving of the embassy to Jerusalem, saying Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Like, you may not have had it because that was, or the Abraham Accords, where Israel basically pretended the Palestinians didn't exist, tried to make peace with the surrounding Arab Muslim nations. And like that pissed off Hamas because they're like, you're just planning on occupying us forever. You're going to do apartheid against Palestinians forever. And that's what led to the attack. So in other words, Trump's decisions directly led to the attack, but he flips it and acts like, well, if Trump was in there, they wouldn't have done it. Again, the Ukraine, Russia thing, the idea that that wouldn't have happened if Trump was in office, that's absurd. Look, he believes the mythology. It's that simple. It's like a religious belief. It's almost like, somebody, if they really believe in like Christianity and Jesus, like it doesn't matter if you show them evidence of the contrary. It's just like, it's a deeply held, like core, fundamental, foundational belief, and he just won't let it go. And I think that's the same thing. Like he talks about how great the Trump family is. Jared Kushner took $2 billion from Saudi Arabia and allegedly gave them classified information. Like they looked the other way after Jamal Khashoggi, a Washington Post journalist, was chopped to pieces because of their close connection with the Trump family. The Trump family and the Saudis, they look out for each other, right? They're as corrupt could be. Trump's taken millions of dollars from them for his Live Golf event as he's running for president. And I do think that guy is going to stand up to Saudi Arabia when they commit crimes. Look, it sucks. It sucks because I love this guy. This guy's the man. Everybody loves John Daly. He's the man. But he just doesn't know what he's talking about on politics. And I don't even think if he were to watch this segment, if he were to see the facts about the border and like, I'm trying to nicely deconstruct his narrative, but even if he were to see this, I don't think he would be like, hey, good points. And that sucks. That sucks. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.